Well, hey fans, welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Spoilers, and today we're talking spoilers for Batman Ninja. Now, I was highly anticipating this film. Seeing the first trailer, it actually looked very interesting. I do love feudal Japan, and I do love Batman. As you can see, I'm wearing the Batman shirt once again for the review. It took me a while actually to watch it. I've been spending a lot of my time playing God of War, but I finally got to watch it. I woke up early one morning and put it in, and it is okay. I think I gave it a 5.5 over on the blog. Not to say there's a lot of hype around this film, but for me it didn't live up to the hype. It didn't live up to what I wanted it to be. And there's many reasons for that. The film itself there's actually two versions of it. There's a Japanese version and an American version. And the way the film was apparently done in Japanese, the Japanese script was written by Kazuki Nakashima, I think. Yes, Kazuki Nakashima. And the English script was written by two people. It was Leo Chu and Eric Garcia. And apparently the Japanese story is totally different from the American story when they rewrote his script. So there's basically two versions of this movie out there. If you were to watch the Japanese version with English subtitles, it'd be an entirely different movie than watching the Americanized version of it. And I think that's where some of the disconnect comes in, because this film is very disjointed. A lot of the plot doesn't really make sense, but we'll get into that later. Roger Craig Smith, he's Batman. He's voiced Batman. I think this is like his third time now. He does a decent job. Tara Strong is Harley Quinn. So those are your more recognizable voices. Will Friedle, I think he voices Nightwing or Red Hood. I'm not exactly sure which one of the characters he voices, but those who are Batman fans recall, he voiced Terry McGinnis in Batman Beyond. So all the callbacks to these characters are great, even between different Batman movies. But like, there's Batman, Red Hood, Robin, Red Robin, and Robin. And while they're not named, Jason Todd is Red Hood in the comics, as we know. Nightwing is Dick Grayson. Red Robin is Tim Drake, and then Damian Wayne is Robin. Now, none of them are given their names in the film, I don't think. I think actually maybe Jason is. I think he may be the only one who's actually identified by name. But in seeing their designs set in feudal Japan was actually pretty great. It was pretty interesting. The designs were actually done by the creator of Afro Samurai. His name is Takashi Okazaki, creator of Afro Samurai. He did the design. He did a great job with the designs of Batman and their feudal Japan armor and the ninjas and everything. And he decided to use more of a computer animation when doing this film instead of cel shading, which is what normal animated films are, which is why everything looks kind of like a video game when you watch it. And it works well for the most part, but at times it does feel clunky. And there's even a certain point in the middle where the animation changes. And I'll get into that with my issues, which I might as well start on now. I want to keep this one short. So the basic plot, Gorilla Grodd invents a time machine, which he calls the Quake Engine, and apparently his overall plan, he was going to send the criminals of Gotham somewhere into the past, and then he was going to take over Gotham himself, but Batman and his gang were coming to intervene, and of course they all got sent back in the past. Now, everybody else got sent back into feudal Japan, and they arrived 2 years before Batman. So when Batman gets there, everybody's been there for 2 years just trying to live their lives, figuring out how they can get back. So he gets there, and he notices all the villains from Gotham have become like these feudal lords there, and they own their own territories. They own different parts of Japan. Joker and Harley Quinn own a part. Deathstroke owns a part. Penguin owns a part. Poison Ivy owns a part. Two-Face owns a part. I think those are all the lords. Also, Bane is there. He doesn't own anything. He shows up for no reason. It kind of really doesn't make sense. And Two-Face and Joker are working together. But Batman goes and he tries to take out the Joker, and he fails. And this is a different type of Batman, and it was okay, but it's like, he's like, without my technology, I'm nothing. And it's like, that's not who Batman is. Batman does use technology to aid him in combat, but he really doesn't need it. He can still beat your ass without it. But he tries to defeat the Joker, fails. He's willing to lay down his life to defeat him, and then he's saved by all these ninjas, and that's when Nightwing shows up with all these ninjas who, it's in their prophecy that a warrior dressed like a bat will come and save them. Yeah, so there's that. But Batman's there for, I want to say, you feel like a year to 2 years he's stuck in the past. So everybody else probably been there for 4 years. And he ends up having to defeat the Lords and find Gorilla Grodd and get back to the future. That's the overall plot. He does succeed. They do make it back to the future with the Quake engine. But there's a lot of inconsistencies within this plot. One, all the villains, save for Bane, all these villains that are now feudal lords, they have these giant mechanical buildings, like their palaces are mechanical and turned to giant robots. How they got the technology to build that within 2 years makes zero sense, because only a small portion of land and technology was transported to the past. So they couldn't have done that, what they did in 2 years, build like these giant palaces. And these things actually turn into mechs. No kidding. They turn into mechs, and at the end of the movie they form a giant Megazord. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But like, it was just too far out there, and it didn't really make sense how it happened. Of course, Batman teams up with Gorilla Grodd, and Grodd, keep calling him Gorilla God. Gorilla Grodd betrays him, and pretty much takes over all these mechs that they make. And these mechs actually, they, for the most part, look pretty cool. Two-Face's look the best. It's like a giant 8-armed Buddha statue. It was amazing. But they form a giant Megazord like in Power Rangers. They come together, and then Joker, who halfway through the movie he's fighting Batman on like the water, and then he's defeated, and he says, "I'll kill you right now." Blows him, Batman and Harley Quinn blows them up, and they can't find him after that. But Red Hood, he finds him as a farmer. Him and Harley Quinn are farmers, and he's about to kill them for all the just the evil things they've done. And Batman stops him, and he's like, "Oh, you have amnesia. That's why you don't remember you're the Joker, and that's why you're such a nice person, you and your wife." And he says, "Let him go. We'll come get him in the end and take him back to the future." As it turns out, this is all part of Joker's plan. He hypnotized himself and Harley Quinn to be simple peasant farmers, to act like they had amnesia. And once their crops came in, the smell of their crops would break the hypnosis, and they would turn back to their crazy normal selves. It's kind of an ingenious plan. It's a little weird. It's kind of ingenious. And during that whole scene, the computer animation turns to cell shaded animation. So it looks like a regular animated film. And it's really inspired by anime. It looks beautiful, but it's just out of place. Why would you switch to that? It just didn't make sense for me. So I didn't care for it. But Joker shows back up, takes over Grodd's Megazord, which is basically what it is, and throws Grodd and Catwoman off of the thing. And Catwoman's there. She kind of helps Batman, but she's really out for herself. She just wants to get back to the future. She has a love-hate relationship with Batman in this. And Grodd, all right, Batman, I'm not going to betray you. You can have all my monkeys to help. There's a lot of monkeys in this. Grodd has an army of monkeys. Even Monkey Chi talks to Robin, and he's cute, but it's just so weird. And all these monkeys come together and form a giant monkey to fight the Megazord. And it's like, what? This is crazy. And then, when they're still losing, the Bat Clan shows up, and all these bats fuse with the monkeys and form a giant Batman. I'm not kidding you. There's literally a giant Batman made out of bats and monkeys, and it beats the crap out of the Megazord. I do not know how, but it does. And I'm just watching it, and I'm like, they really decided to do that. And I don't know what it originally meant in the Japanese version, but in the American version, it came off as so silly. And in the end, Batman does have this really cool fight with the Joker where he starts turning into bats. It's not explained if it's magic, sleight of hand, or if he's actually now some kind of magical Batman shinobi. But he wins, and they get to go back to the future, and that's basically that. The character designs, they're great. They all look like they're from feudal Japan, and it's cool what it makes it feel like, why do they need to look like that? They're in there for 2 years. Like, some of them dressing that way doesn't make sense, because they're really just trying to get back to the future. Now, if it was that they were sent to the past and they just become in this timeline. That's like they were displaced. They were born there instead of being displaced there. It would make sense why they look like that. But some of their clothing is like they go fully in depth, like they're undercover when they shouldn't have to be. Batman does the same thing. When he gets there, he's in his normal armor, which is fine. It makes sense because he was just transported to the past. And then at some point, he has like a beard and like the top of his head is shaved with a Batman tattoo up top. And it's like, why is he dressed like that? Like, where'd that beard come from? And then it's gone. It's like just showing what he would look like if he was in that time period. And then it changes back to normal. And it made no sense. So I just didn't understand that. Let's see what else. The Joker in this, he's cool. He's more goofy and silly than your normal psychotic killer clown. He is an excellent hand-to-hand combat fighter, and he's fighting Batman. Not on par, but, you know, almost like in that WB TV show, The Batman, he kind of fights like him. Like wild and crazy with kicks and shurikens and whatnot. And it was fine. Overall, the movie was just fine. It's not really memorable. I have no aim to try and rewatch it unless I'm watching the Japanese version with English subtitles. But yeah, all the references were nice. The music was actually pretty good. The guy who did the score, he managed to combine traditional Batman themes with like classical Japanese music, and the melding of it was great. It was kind of out of place for this not so great movie, but the score was great. I have to say that. This is probably my least favorite of the direct-to-DVD Batman movies, and probably my least favorite of the direct-to-DVD DC movies in general. I mean, it's worth checking out if you want to see something different, but overall, you may can skip this one, to be honest. But those are my thoughts on Batman Ninja. You can check out my quick review for this movie on Stardust. I am a superstar over there, so you can check out Batman Ninja review. I also have my reviews of Westworld up there. I love that show, and the most recent episode of Riddle of Sphinx was great. You should definitely check that out, and a lot of other reviews as well. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google+. Don't forget to head over to the blog, flicksfrog.wordpress.com, to check out the full written review of Batman Ninja and a lot of other cool stuff, videos and whatnot. The videos on YouTube are also posted over there. Most of them are. We're also on Reddit. We could definitely use more subscribers on Reddit. And of course, we could use more subscribers on here on the YouTube channel. Please like, comment, share, click that subscribe button, click that notify bell. Let's grow this thing. Let's grow this channel. I could definitely use more supporters. It'll be great. The next Let's Talk Spoilers is going to be Deadpool 2. I managed to go to an early screening of that, so I'm going to get that Let's Talk Spoilers up hopefully by Sunday or Monday. We'll see. It's graduation weekend, so it's going to be really busy for me. I also recently put up another top 5 video, and it's about the top 5 characters who should be in the new Super Smash Bros. Game, so definitely check that one out as well. And until next time, I'll be seeing you.